Imagine spending 20 years watching two of television's most iconic characters share undeniable chemistry, stolen glances, and emotional tension, yet never a single kiss. Why? What secret kept James Arness and Amanda Blake, better known as Marshall Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke, from sharing even one on-screen kiss? Today, we uncover the truth, a truth that's been buried for decades, hidden behind the dusty saloons of Dodge City and Hollywood's golden rules. But before we dive into this shocking revelation, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, not only because it helps this video reach more Gunsmoke fans, but because your support tells YouTube that you love classic Hollywood stories that deserve to be remembered. Every click and comment helps keep this history alive for future generations, and I promise, what you're about to hear will make you see James Arness and Miss Kitty in a completely different light. Now, let's get into it, because the real reason behind that missing kiss isn't what fans expected. Was it personal? Was it professional? Or was there something much deeper going on behind the cameras? Some say it was Arness's strict professionalism and shyness. Others whisper about a hidden contract clause that forbade romantic involvement between the leads, and a few insiders claim there were off-screen tensions that producers fought to keep secret for years. And then there's the most controversial theory of all, that James Arness himself refused to kiss Miss Kitty because of something she once said behind the scenes, something that nearly ended their friendship forever. Shocking, right? But there's even more to it. As we explore exclusive interviews, cast confessions, and hidden moments that never made it to air, you'll begin to understand why the love story between Matt and Kitty remained the most unfinished romance in television history. So stay with me until the end, because the final revelation, the one that came directly from James Arness himself years later, will completely change how you see their relationship. And it might just break your heart. And when it does, I want you to comment below what surprised you the most about this untold story. Was it Arness's decision, the studio's control, or the emotional truth behind that famous silence? Trust me, you want to share your thoughts, because everyone who's ever watched Gunsmoke deserves to know what really happened between Marshall Dillon and Miss Kitty and why that kiss never came. 1. The man behind the Marshall. James Arness, long before he became the towering symbol of justice in Gunsmoke, lived a life filled with struggle, discipline, and quiet determination. Born James King Arness on May 26, 1923, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, he was the son of Rolf Cirkler Arness and Ruth Dussler, a hardworking couple of Norwegian descent. Growing up during the Great Depression, James learned early on the value of humility and perseverance. He wasn't the kind of person who dreamed of fame or fortune. In fact, he often felt awkward because of his extraordinary height. By the time he was a teenager, he had already reached over 6 feet tall, something that made him feel out of place among his peers. Yet, that very feature would one day help define his presence on screen. When World War II broke out, Arness's life took a dramatic turn. He joined the U.S. Army and was sent to the front lines as a rifleman. During the Battle of Anzio in Italy, he was hit by enemy fire, suffering a severe leg wound that nearly cost him his life. He was carried off the battlefield under heavy fire, later receiving the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart for his bravery. The injury left him with lifelong pain and a limp he carefully hid throughout his acting career, a testament to his resilience and professionalism. After the war, uncertain about his future, James took odd jobs, from loading trucks to working as a radio announcer, until destiny quietly pointed him toward acting. Encouraged by friends, he moved to Hollywood, adopting the stage name Arness, dropping the U to make it sound sharper. His first years in Hollywood were tough. He played small, often uncredited roles in low-budget films, slowly learning the craft that would make him a legend. But fate intervened when he crossed paths with none other than John Wayne, who saw something special in the tall, soft-spoken young man. Wayne not only mentored him, but personally recommended him for the lead role in Gunsmoke when CBS began searching for their Marshall Dillon. What few people knew was that Arness almost turned the role down. He was nervous about committing to a long-term television series, unsure if audiences would accept him. Yet once he stepped into that role, his calm authority and quiet strength captured the hearts of millions. Off camera, However, James Arness remained remarkably humble. He disliked the fame that came with success, avoided Hollywood parties, and rarely gave interviews. Friends described him as a man who preferred the company of his family, his horses, and the open outdoors to the chaos of celebrity life. Those who knew him best said he carried a deep sense of gratitude, but also a quiet sadness from his war experiences and personal struggles. He wasn't just an actor playing a hero. He was a man who had already lived through enough pain, loss, and courage to understand what being a real hero meant. His journey from a wounded soldier to one of television's most enduring icons is a story of perseverance, discipline, and authenticity, the very qualities that made audiences believe every word Marshall Dillon spoke. 2. Amanda Blake, the Lady of Dodge City. Amanda Blake, whose real name was Beverly Louise Neal, was much more than the glamorous saloon owner Miss Kitty Russell that audiences adored on Gunsmoke. Born on February 20th, 1929, in Buffalo, New York, she grew up in a comfortable yet modest home where creativity and expression were encouraged. From a young age, Amanda was drawn to performance and storytelling. She loved the magic of movies and dreamed of one day being part of that world. After high school, she worked as a telephone operator while participating in community theater, where her striking beauty and natural charisma caught attention. She later signed a contract with MGM, one of the biggest studios of Hollywood's golden era, and quickly began to appear in films throughout the 1950s. Her auburn hair, warm smile, and confident presence made her stand out, but it wasn't until she landed the role of Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke in 1955 that her life would change forever. The character of Miss Kitty Russell, the strong and independent owner of the Long Branch Saloon, became an icon of female power in a time when television rarely allowed women to play such commanding roles. Amanda brought a mix of elegance, humor, and quiet strength to the part, turning Kitty into the heart of Dodge City. But behind the charm and poise, Amanda's personal life was filled with emotional ups and downs. She was married 4 times, and each marriage ended in separation or divorce. Friends often said that she longed for the kind of lasting love that Miss Kitty seemed to have with Marshall Dillon, but reality rarely matched the fantasy. Despite her fame, she often felt lonely, struggling to balance her career with her desire for stability and companionship. Off-screen, Amanda was known for her kindness and her deep passion for animals. She became one of the earliest celebrity activists for animal rights, helping to establish the Arizona Animal Welfare League, and even creating a wildlife refuge that protected big cats such as tigers and lions. She was proud of that work, saying in one interview that helping animals gave her a peace that Hollywood never could. Yet, Amanda also faced personal demons. She was a heavy smoker for years, a habit that eventually damaged her health. She was diagnosed with oral cancer in the 1980s, forcing her to undergo several surgeries and retire from acting. Even during her illness, she maintained her grace and humor, rarely speaking about her pain publicly. Those who knew her said she was warm, generous, and incredibly loyal, a woman who carried her strength quietly but firmly. Her final years were spent mostly out of the public eye, surrounded by close friends and her beloved animals. Tragically, Amanda Blake passed away in 1989 at the age of 60, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire. To millions of fans, she will forever be Miss Kitty, the fiery, compassionate, and courageous woman who brought both beauty and backbone to Dodge City. But to those who knew her personally, Amanda Blake was more than a television star. She was a fighter, a dreamer, and a woman who lived her life on her own terms. Her story is one of talent, resilience, and a deep, unwavering passion for life, qualities that made her unforgettable both on and off the screen. 3. A complicated friendship. Arness and Blake behind the scenes. The friendship between James Arness and Amanda Blake was one of the most fascinating and quietly complex relationships in television history. On screen, they portrayed Marshall Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty Russell, 2 characters bound by deep affection, mutual respect, and a silent, unspoken love that kept audiences guessing for 20 years. But behind the cameras, their bond was far more nuanced than anyone could imagine. From the very first days on the Gunsmoke set, there was a noticeable chemistry between them, a natural ease that made their scenes feel genuine. Amanda, known for her warmth and playfulness, often teased Arness to break his serious demeanor, while he, ever the reserved professional, would respond with his signature quiet grin. Cast and crew members described their friendship as one built on deep trust and loyalty, though it was never without tension. James Arness was a man of few words, disciplined, private, and deeply introspective, while Amanda Blake was expressive, outgoing, and loved to socialize. Their personalities often balanced each other perfectly on screen, but off-screen, that same contrast sometimes created emotional distance. Amanda reportedly had a soft spot for James, and many who worked on the show believe she harbored genuine affection for him beyond their characters. However, Arness, shaped by his war experiences and natural shyness, was cautious about letting anyone get too close. He often said he preferred to keep his professional and personal lives separate, which may explain why he kept their connection strictly friendly, even though fans always hoped they were secretly a couple. There were rumors through the years, whispers that the two shared quiet dinners or long talks after filming, but neither ever confirmed a romantic relationship. In fact, both avoided gossip and always spoke respectfully of one another in interviews. Amanda once described James as a true gentleman, saying he was one of the few men in Hollywood who treated everyone, from co-stars to crew, with the same quiet kindness. Arness, in turn, admired her dedication and fiery spirit, often saying she brought a special energy to the set that kept everyone smiling. Yet, there were also moments of disagreement. Filming a show for 2 decades inevitably brought creative conflicts, and Amanda, known for her strong opinions, sometimes clashed with producers and writers about Miss Kitty's role. Arness, being the show's lead, was often caught in the middle, trying to maintain peace without taking sides. Despite these small frictions, their friendship endured because it was rooted in genuine respect and shared experience. They both understood the pressure of carrying such a beloved show and supported each other through the exhausting filming schedules and the weight of public expectation. When Amanda decided to leave Gunsmoke in 1974, just a year before the show ended, James reportedly felt her absence deeply. He later said that the dynamic of Dodge City was never the same without Miss Kitty's presence. After leaving the show, Amanda and James didn't see each other as often, but they remained on good terms. Arness was deeply private and rarely attended Hollywood gatherings, while Amanda continued her charity work and occasional public appearances. In later interviews, Amanda hinted that their bond was something only we truly understood, a quiet acknowledgement of a friendship that went beyond the cameras. They shared laughter, long working days, and an emotional connection that neither fame nor time could erase. Their relationship was a beautiful contradiction, close but distant, affectionate yet restrained, mirroring exactly what viewers saw between Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty. In many ways, their real-life friendship gave authenticity to their on-screen chemistry. The respect, the hesitation, the tension, and the affection were all real, drawn not from a script, but from the genuine connection between two people who shared 20 years of their lives together under the lights of Hollywood's most enduring Western. For hidden battles and private sorrows. Behind the fame, the smiles, and the legendary success of Gunsmoke, both James Arness and Amanda Blake carried heavy emotional burdens that few people ever saw. Their lives, though admired by millions, were marked by hidden struggles, private losses, and deep personal pain that shaped who they were beyond the cameras. For James Arness, the most defining battle began long before Hollywood ever called his name. During World War II, while serving as a rifleman in the U.S. Army, he was gravely injured during the Battle of Anzio. The wounds to his leg left him with lifelong pain and a limp that he worked hard to hide from the camera. Throughout his career, he endured constant discomfort, yet he rarely complained. His quiet endurance became part of his strength, both as a man and as the stoic Marshal Matt Dillon. But beneath that calm exterior, Arness struggled with emotional scars as well. The war left him haunted by memories of fallen comrades. and the fame that followed brought its own isolation. He was never comfortable with the spotlight and often described himself as a private man trapped in a public life. Away from the set, he sought peace in solitude, fishing, riding horses, or spending time on his ranch, trying to escape the pressures of Hollywood that never truly suited his quiet soul. His personal life was also marked by heartbreak. His first wife, Virginia Chapman, whom he married in 1948, died from a drug overdose in 1977, a tragedy that devastated him deeply. Their marriage had already faced turmoil due to his demanding career and her struggles with addiction. They had 3 children together, one of whom, Rolf, went through difficult times that caused James even more emotional pain. Despite all this, Arness rarely spoke publicly about his family troubles, preferring to carry his grief in silence, much like the characters he portrayed. Amanda Blake, on the other hand, faced a different kind of sorrow. Her life, while glamorous on the outside, was filled with personal loneliness and health challenges that she bravely endured behind her dazzling smile. She was married 4 times, but none of those relationships brought her the lasting happiness she longed for. Friends often said that Amanda gave her heart too easily and struggled when people didn't love her with the same intensity she gave. When she wasn't working, she poured her energy into animal rescue and charity work, finding comfort in caring for creatures who couldn't hurt her. But even that could not protect her from the toll of her long-term smoking habit, which eventually led to cancer in the 1980s. She battled the disease quietly, avoiding public pity and continuing to smile through her pain. Amanda's illness, combined with the loneliness of fading fame, made her final years emotionally difficult. She became more private, preferring to spend her time surrounded by close friends and the animals she loved. Yet, even as her health declined, she remained proud of her legacy, saying in one of her last interviews that she hoped people would remember her as someone who cared deeply. Both James and Amanda shared a kind of emotional resilience that made them kindred spirits. They knew how to hide their pain behind professionalism, always delivering their best on screen no matter what was happening in their personal lives. They had seen loss, heartbreak, and disappointment, but they never let those experiences harden them. Instead, their struggles gave them depth and humanity, the same quiet authenticity that made their performances unforgettable. Their hidden battles remind us that behind every legend is a human being, carrying private sorrows that no fame or fortune can erase. And perhaps that's what made them so relatable to audiences, because even when they were playing heroes, they were simply 2 people learning how to survive the weight of life's pain with grace and dignity. 5 later years, fame, withdrawal, and legacy. As the years rolled on after Gunsmoke ended in 1975, both James Arness and Amanda Blake stepped into a new chapter of their lives, one that was quieter, more reflective, and filled with the kind of wisdom that only comes after decades in the spotlight. For James Arness, fame had never been something he chased. In fact, he often said that acting was just a job, not a way of life. When Gunsmoke wrapped after an incredible 20-year run, making it one of the longest-running TV shows in history, Arness felt both relief and sadness. He had played Marshal Matt Dillon for 2 decades, and in many ways, the character had become an extension of himself. But once the cameras stopped rolling, James chose not to stay in the whirlwind of Hollywood. Instead, he withdrew from public life, retreating to his home in California, where he found peace in the simplicity of nature. He loved spending time outdoors, fishing, riding horses, and enjoying the quiet that fame had long denied him. He rarely gave interviews, and when he did, he spoke with humility, always crediting the Gunsmoke cast and crew rather than taking the spotlight for himself. Those who knew him said he was deeply loyal, gentle, and thoughtful, a man who never let stardom change who he was at heart. Yet, even in his retirement, he remained deeply connected to his fans. He would personally respond to letters and often expressed how grateful he was that people still remembered him and the show that had defined his career. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Arness briefly returned to television for several Gunsmoke reunion movies, reprising his legendary role one last time. Seeing him back as Marshall Dillon brought immense joy to fans who had grown up watching him embody honor and integrity every week. After that, he quietly faded from the public eye once again, living the rest of his life away from Hollywood's chaos until his peaceful passing in 2011 at the age of 88. Amanda Blake, after leaving Gunsmoke in 1974, also found herself in a period of transition. While she continued to make a few television appearances and small film roles, her passion had shifted toward animal welfare. Her love for animals became her life's mission, and she used her fame to make a real difference. She helped establish the Arizona Animal Welfare League, one of the first no-kill animal shelters in the United States, and worked tirelessly to protect endangered wildlife. Many people who met her in those later years describe her as warm, compassionate, and filled with purpose, qualities that made her every bit as heroic as her on-screen character. Sadly, Amanda's later years were marked by health challenges. Her long struggle with smoking eventually led to cancer, and though she fought bravely, she passed away in 1989 at the age of 60. Her death was a heartbreak for fans and for those who loved her personally. Still, Amanda's legacy lives on not only through Gunsmoke, but also through the many lives of the animals she saved. Both she and Arness left behind something that transcends fame, a sense of authenticity and humanity that continues to inspire. Even today, reruns of Gunsmoke remind audiences of a time when television heroes stood for honor, loyalty, and quiet strength. Their chemistry, professionalism, and dedication to their craft shaped American television forever. In the end, James Arness and Amanda Blake became more than just stars. They became symbols of resilience, humility, and grace. Their later years may have been lived away from the public eye, but their impact remained larger than life. They found peace in simplicity, joy in purpose, and left behind a timeless reminder that true legacy isn't measured by fame. It's measured by the hearts you touch and the integrity you keep, even when the spotlight fades. 6. The revelation: why he never kissed Miss Kitty. For decades, fans of Gunsmoke speculated, debated, and even obsessed over one question. Why did Marshall Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty Russell never share a single on-screen kiss? Despite 2 decades of undeniable chemistry, the tension between James Arness and Amanda Blake was palpable, and viewers could feel the unspoken affection in every glance, every pause, every subtle gesture. Yet, from 1955 to 1975, that definitive romantic moment never happened. The answer, when James Arness finally revealed it, was both surprising and profoundly thoughtful. In a rare interview later in his life, Arness explained that the decision was never about shyness, fear, or a lack of attraction. Instead, it was rooted in a deliberate choice to preserve the magic, the mystery, and the emotional depth of their relationship. He admitted that he and Amanda had discussed the possibility of a kiss on several occasions, but he felt that crossing that line would have changed everything. To Arness, the beauty of Matt and Kitty's relationship lay in restraint, in a love that was implied, deeply felt, but never fully acted upon. He said, "Once you kiss, it's over." The tension, the anticipation, the longing, that's what people connected with. That's what made it real and timeless. This revelation shed new light not just on their characters, but on Arness himself, showing a man who understood storytelling and human emotion in ways few actors ever do. He recognized that audiences invest in the journey, not just the destination, and that the unspoken love between Matt and Kitty had a power that no single kiss could ever match. Some insiders added nuance to the story, suggesting that the decision was also influenced by studio rules and television norms of the time, which often frowned upon overt displays of romance, particularly on a long-running primetime show. But Arness emphasized that ultimately, it was his personal choice, a reflection of his professionalism, his respect for Amanda Blake, and his commitment to the characters. He didn't want to risk altering the dynamic that had worked so perfectly for years. Amanda herself never expressed disappointment over the absence of a kiss. Instead, she reportedly respected Arness's decision, understanding that their friendship and working relationship were far more important than satisfying fan fantasies. For viewers, the revelation was shocking because it went against every expectation built over 20 years. Yet in hindsight, it made perfect sense. The unconsummated love story of Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty became more memorable precisely because it remained unresolved. It allowed fans to project their own emotions, to imagine the possibilities, and to return to Dodge City week after week, drawn by the tension, the respect, and the deep emotional connection that transcended romance. Arness's candid admission also highlighted his humility and intelligence, showing that his dedication to the craft and to the audience extended far beyond performing lines. He had considered the long-term impact of every action, preserving the integrity of the story and the characters he had embodied for so long. In revealing the truth, James Arness didn't just answer a decades-old question. He gave fans a masterclass in storytelling, subtlety, and the power of restraint. The final truth is clear. Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty never kissed because their love wasn't about a single moment of passion. It was about respect, loyalty, and the quiet, enduring bond that made their story timeless. And perhaps that's why, even today, Gunsmoke continues to captivate audiences, because some of the most powerful moments in life and art are the ones that remain unspoken. If you've been captivated by the untold story behind James Arness and Amanda Blake, don't let this moment end here. Hit that subscribe button now and smash the like to join a community that uncovers the real stories behind the legends. Every click, every comment, and every share helps us bring more hidden truths, shocking revelations, and behind-the-scenes secrets straight to you. Comment below what surprised you the most. Was it Arness's decision, Amanda's dedication, or the untold depth of their bond? And don't scroll away, because the next video will take you even deeper into Hollywood's biggest mysteries. Subscribing isn't just support. It's your ticket to exclusive stories, insider revelations, and a front-row seat to history you thought you knew. Don't miss out. The truth is waiting, and the journey is just getting started.